Hello, everyone. How are you guys?
Hello.
Welcome to the Career Mentoring panel sponsored by the AAG Remote Sensing Specialty Group. My name is Hua Liu. I'm currently the chair of Remote Sensing Specialty Group and associate professor of geography at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, United States. Before we start the program, I would like to let you know that the program is being recorded and may be shared publicly in the future. This event, the panel, is organized by our specialty group, and our group was established in 1978, just for your reference. We have more than 400 active members right now. Our mission is to foster understanding of remote sensing science with emphasis on developing meaningful dialogue among all the geographers interested in understanding and applying remote sensing techniques in research, industry, public service, and private enterprise. Today's event, our goals are to build a stronger network among remote sensing GIS, geospatial technology in general, scholars and professionals to foster meaningful relationships between next generation fellowship and established fellows. We hope that the connections made in this program will leave a lasting impact, not only on all the audience here today, but also in the entire specialty group for long term. This event is also co-sponsored by ISPRS, Journal of Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing, MDPI Remote Sensing, AAG Biogeography Specialty Group, AAG China Geography Specialty Group, and AAG Landscape Specialty Group. And we have representatives from some of our co-sponsors today, and let's give them some time to introduce themselves and the group. I invite representative for MDPI Remote Sensing to give a short introduction, and that limited by the time difference, they won't be able to do it, but they did hope to have me to play a short video about MDPI Remote Sensing. So I'm going to share the video first. All right, thank you. And next, I would like to invite Nathan Gill from Biogeography Specialty Group to give us some basic introduction for your specialty group. Nathan?
Yes, hello. Hi, thank you.
I'm here from the Biogeography Specialty Group Board, just representing that specialty group. We do have a lot of overlap with folks who do a lot of remote sensing work, and just wanted to say we're glad to see this Zoom session sponsored, and happy to be here, and put a little plug in for biogeography. So for any of you folks who might be doing remote sensing work that's applied to vegetation dynamics or wildlife or anything related to biogeography, which is a very broad discipline, consider looking to the biogeography group as well. We have a lot of opportunities for students through competition of presentations and some grant funding and things like that we have available for students in the biogeography specialty group, as well as early career professionals. So feel free to ask me if you have any other questions about biogeography, and thank you.
Thank you, Lathan. We also have a representative from Landscape Specialty Group, Janardan Manania. Hi, would you like to say a few words about your specialty group as well?
Yes, thank you. For some reason, my camera is not being displayed. Okay, anyway, thank you for having me here. So I'm representing the Landscape Specialty Group. I am the award director of Landscape Specialty Group of AAG. So landscape, as its name suggests, has very close affinity with the remote sensing, and we also use a lot of remote sensing tools in our work. And I would also like you guys to check out our group. We have every year we conduct landscape photography competition at AAG. We will be sending out our announcements soon. Please look out for that, and it is open to everyone. This year it will be a virtual competition. We also have registration, member registration, and member registration awards for students, master's and PhD students. Please look out for that as well. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. And before we get started with the real content of the panel, I would like to remind everyone we will give out 5 door prizes today, and each prize is a full waiver voucher for publishing at MDPI Remote Sensing. Those door prizes are sponsored, of course, by MDPI Remote Sensing based on the name. The winners must be present to claim the door prizes and will be invited to introduce themselves among the group via Zoom, if you don't mind. If someone's number is drawn after he or she leaves, the draw will become void automatically. So please stay here and don't leave. You might be the lucky one. So if you would like to participate in the door prize drawing, please make sure your full name, first name, space, last name is showing in the Zoom participants list. We will use the list as our reference to draw the door prizes. And each participant's name will be included in a spreadsheet with a row number. And I will use Google's random number generator to pick a row number, and then that person is the winner every time. And I will share my screen with everyone so everyone could see the spreadsheet and the random number generator results for full transparency. And at the end, the winners will need to send the email addresses to me in the Zoom chat box or by email. All right, our panelists are coming from various organizations with diverse background. So let's give them some chance to introduce themselves. So dear panelists, I see everyone here. When I call your name, would you like to just introduce yourself for about 1 minute? All right, let's get started with Dr. Marguerite Madden.
Thank you. My name is Marguerite Madden. I'm a professor at the University of Georgia in the Department of Geography, and I'm also the director of the Center for Geospatial Research. My background is biology. I have a bachelor's and master's degree in biology, and my PhD is in ecology. But I would say that I always could get a job in geography if I knew some techniques, like how to make maps or do ground surveys, or do GIS or remote sensing or photogrammetry. So I really like the combination between the two, and have a foot in both worlds. So I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to hearing about everybody else as well.
Thank you, Dr. Madden. And next, let's go to Dr. Beth Tillman.
Hi, everyone. I have two roles, or maybe more than two roles on this panel, but I'm an assistant professor in geography at the University of Arizona. I just started this fall, and my research area in remote sensing is on land cover and land use change, looking at deforestation and urbanization. And I also do a lot of work on monitoring floods with satellites. And the other kind of piece that I can offer on this career panel, aside from academia, is in entrepreneurship and sort of the startup world of companies in remote sensing, because I co-founded one named Cloud to Street, where I'm the chief science officer. We now have 27 employees and a pretty big remote sensing team. So I have a lot of experience hiring remote sensing students. So I'm happy to talk and offer on this panel sort of what we look for in candidates, what you can really do to set yourself apart, and any other things that people want to know about sort of the remote sensing technology and startup space right now. Maybe a few of you are entrepreneurs and are thinking of starting your own company. So I'm also happy to answer questions as a co-founder and as an entrepreneur.
Thank you, Dr. Tillman. And next, let's go to Dr. Lexia Yang.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lexia. I'm currently the lead research scientist at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and I'm in the GeoAI group, and my daily responsibilities and my general research interests cover all kinds of machine learning, AI-derived techniques, utilizing large-scale satellite imageries, and also all kinds of geoscience data sets to solve some of the mission-critical problems that National Laboratory are interested in. So my background is before graduate school, my background was focusing on geomatics. Then my master and PhD kind of moved forward to more machine learning algorithm development, and also bridging the gap between the proof of concept algorithms to the deployment ready solutions to help some of the government sponsors. So I think I can offer some of the insights from National Laboratory side, and also how we are positioning in a unique position between the intersection between the private sectors and also academias.
Thank you, Dr. Yang. Let's go to Mr. Keith Van Graafelen.
Thanks, Dr. Liu. Hello, everybody. My name is Keith Van Graafland. I'm a product engineer at Esri, and I work on a team called the ArcGIS Living Atlas of the World. We bring content, readily usable GIS content available to the GIS community. In my role there, I focus on ocean-related content, marine, coastal, environmental related data, working with authoritative data providers, and making their content available through the Living Atlas of the World, and in turn engaging with the community to understand what their data needs are, and developing products or working with those authoritative data providers to make that content available. I also serve on the steering committee for GeoBluePlanet. That's the group on Earth observations. And within that role, well, we try to use Earth observation data to provide data-driven answers to questions that would be impacting our environment, to document change and see how that good science, that good remote sensing data can be used to inform decision making, to be applied and maybe even impact policy. So I'm happy to be here today. Thank you for the invite. Oh, and most importantly, I am a graduate of Old Dominion University, and I appreciate Dr. Liu hosting this event on this very important GIS Day. So happy GIS Day, everybody.
Thank you, Kate. Next, this goes to Dr. James Wu.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie Vood. I'm Chair of Geography and Environment here at Western University, which is in Canada. We are about halfway between Detroit and Toronto in the city of London. It's the other London, we like to call it. I'm trained as a physical geographer and atmospheric scientist. So in my area of specialty is urban climates. And in that area, I do a lot of thermal remote sensing. So my area of specialty is surface temperatures in cities. And in terms of careers, one of the things my current position does is I oversee academic hiring as part of the department. And I've also held leadership positions within the research field as president of the International Association for Urban Climate. So happy to join and look forward to hearing about everybody's experiences here.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. And now let's talk about our plan for the event. As you can see in the draft agenda, we hope to cover a variety of topics with 3 sections. Each section has one predetermined question. And of course, feel free to raise your hand to ask any follow-up questions during the discussion, or simply post your questions on the chat and our moderator will raise the questions on behalf of you during the process. And let me hand out to Dr. Chunyan Wang, who will host the first section.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Carter Wang. I am assistant professor in the Department of Geography and Environmental Planning at Towson University in Maryland. So I'll be the moderator of this section here. So the first topic is about career exploration. So, I believe most of our participants here are like geography major students with probably remote sensing or GIS concentration. So many of us may wonder, like, what kind of job opportunities are out there for a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD degree. So if I want to be like a remote sensing or GIS specialist for a private company, do I need a master's degree or is the bachelor's degree good enough? Or if I want to work for a government organization and or national laboratory such as the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, like what degree or what experiences are required? And then how about a job in the university, in the K-12 school or in the private institution? And what courses should I take? Is the internship required? So I think all these questions that we may have asked ourselves before when we were a student. So let's turn to our panelists. So what is the best advice you can give to our students to help plan a career in remote sensing and GIS?
You mean to go ahead and take a
stab?
Who should start, Carter, or just popcorn?
Sure. From my standpoint, I don't think that it depends on what realm you're working within some of these different disciplines as far as what level of a degree you might need. If you're developing algorithms in remote sensing, I think you might need to have a higher level degree and things like that. I think that you're okay with a bachelor's degree as long as you have specialization in certain areas. So I graduated from Old Dominion University with a bachelor's of science in geography. I also got 2 certificates from there. One was a remote sensing of spatial environments, a space certificate. And then the other one was a GIS certificate that helped me stand out from just your standard Bachelor of Science and Geography discipline, type of students that were graduating. And I think, a lot of our technology, a lot of the tools that we use today are driven by technology. So being able to apply that geography through software has been very helpful. So I'm a strong advocate for hands-on training and learning. Through an internship, I was able to get an internship through Old Dominion University and start to apply myself early on. And I think those types of things are helpful in lieu of maybe continuing education for a master's degree. Although I am excited about Old Dominion's master's degree program that they've been talking about starting up within the geography and GIS realm, it is something that I have considered going back to school for, even now that I've got about 15 years of GIS experience under my belt. I think it could be helpful to continue my education at this point in my career.
Thank you, Keith.
I'm happy to go next.
Yeah.
I would say, and this is the perspective of probably startup companies and small remote sensing companies, I think a master's is pretty helpful. We do have, I was just sort of like crunching my own numbers here. I think on our staff of 27, 4 people who don't have a master's degree. So we do have a few entry-level positions where we will hire candidates with bachelor's degrees, but those are like pretty entry level. So those positions are like, one is a program assistant or program manager. So they're not doing a ton of technical work. They're doing like a lot of admin kind of work and administration and communications. And then we do have 3 remote sensing scientists on staff who have a bachelor's that came in an entry-level position, and 1 person who stayed at the company for, I think, 4 years now. She's grown into like a much broader leadership position, but the other 2 are still pretty entry level. And what's important to keep in mind with that is it's going to change your salary. So you will pay more typically at a company for a master's degree. We definitely do at my company. And it's also something that you can negotiate a higher salary with. So it can be really useful to have. But I would say, so I think a master's is useful, not 100% necessary, but I think it helps. What I think is more important are your skills. So if you can demonstrate with a bachelor's degree leadership and independence in a project that you led, code or an algorithm that you wrote yourself, you have a GitHub page, you have a website, like something that really kind of shows sort of your own growth and leadership in the remote sensing space, then I think you could then be on par sort of with that student who has a master's degree. So those are the things that you might want to work on if you're entering the job market just with a bachelor's, I would say. So not necessary, a master's isn't necessary, but I think it is really helpful, and it's just going to increase your pay, which I think is really important.
Thank you, Beth. And how about like a government organization or a national laboratory like Oak Ridge?
Yeah, that's a great point. And actually, when I was talking to different my professors in academia universities, and I surprisingly found out that there are very few people understanding and to know that we actually have a full program, internship program from undergraduate and masters and all the way to PhD postdoc type of programs. So I'm happy to post the link that there are all kinds of educational opportunities for students, undergraduate, master degrees, or you are looking for careers at the Oak Ridge or government sites. The internship programs that we run here are designing to get the students, young students, to know what are the focus problems that we are working on, because those problems in the projects, typically they are, I would say, they are framed to address very real problems that in our daily lives, and we get to use the actual data, and even just to have 2 months of the summer internships in national laboratories, you actually get a very good sense about how your skills can be applied to solve the problems in our daily life or real science challenges. So that's one way we would like to expose our working environment and also research interests to all the students. And students, if they have enjoyed the summer programs and they decided to say, this might be the right place for us to work on, then usually keep the connections with your mentors at the Oak Ridge National Laboratories or all kinds of national laboratories. And then they usually are happy to connect you to staff positions. So if you are not really, like you enjoy the work, however, you find out that your passions are in other places, we here are always wanted to keep the connections open, because here we work with governments. However, we also try to leverage our connections in academia and in private sectors to form a more multidisciplinary collaboration to help us to address larger challenges in science domain. So let me just post a couple links for you to consider and to know the opportunities you can pick up from. So under DOE Department of Energies, there are multiple national laboratories and they all have the similar programs. So if you are interested in any positions or you wanted to know better about what's the life look like in national laboratories, I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions. Let me just post the links here. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lexi. So how about like university jobs? Like say, if I want to teach in the university as a teaching professor, or if I want to be like a tenure track position, or if I want to be like a research professor, and what are the opportunities out there, and what are the skills, and what is the degree requirements? Please.
Yeah, so I can weigh in on that. I think it's all building blocks, right? So if I go back, I think I agree with everything that Beth had said, and I would add to that one of the opportunities we have, and it'll depend on the program you're in, is if you have the choice of doing an undergrad thesis, that's a good choice to make, right? If it's an optional thing, so doing that kind of thing, and also the internships. That many universities have some kind of summer research internship, and we really recruit hard in, say, the 3rd year for students to do that, and the stepping stones going on. To get into academia, if you want an academic job, you're looking at PhDs. And I think what we want to do again is we're looking for building of skill sets. And now the skill set's a bit broader in some ways, because you're looking at research outputs, ability to teach, and to some extent service, but service actually just equates to, do we see signs of leadership? And the leadership really comes into play in terms of research, I think. So when someone's trying to apply for an academic position here, typically jobs are asking for research statements. So we're looking at how does the applicant describe themselves in terms of where they're going with their research, right? So what is it you're doing? Why is it important? And how will that become a leader, right? We're all looking for those research leaders. And leadership takes various forms, but there's definitely research leaders. how do you build that skill set? I think the points I jotted down before this meeting were getting that experience, which I've mentioned. I think trying to make presentations is an important thing. So getting yourself known. So that means conferences, workshops, and again, you can tune those to what your target audience is. So if you're interested in academia, you probably want to go to the sort of science or academic type conferences. There's more opportunities because of COVID, I think, to do cheap conferences online and get yourself out there, but don't forget about talking to people in person is important too. Building the skill sets, which has been mentioned before. And I think, building your academic CV. So it can be a tough road getting into universities, right? Like in often cases, you're not going to get an academic job at some school straight out of a PhD. So how do you navigate that? And it's important, I think, for most academic positions, we're looking at typically research first, at least at my own institution, and then the other elements. So you need to keep up those elements and think about the things that are going to be asked for in an application. So a research statement, teaching dossier, and your CV.
Thank you, Dr.
Maybe I can just add to that. I have a lot of students that will come in my office and they're trying to decide what to do, what to do next. And so I often ask them how could they picture themselves? What kind of a job would they, really see themselves liking, but not just the job, but kind of what position within that job. So are they just fine with a bachelor's degree and there's a lot of job opportunities, but then are they okay with maybe doing something a little more repetitive, or you're a part of a team and you are given direction and you need to fulfill certain tasks in certain ways? And some students are fine with that, and they will get out and into the workforce for a while. But then maybe after a little while they feel a little frustrated, like, well, I could be leading this team, or I could be making decisions about how we're going to do this project. And then you really need a master's degree in order to be given that level of responsibility. And they might come back to school to get that, or they might stay on from bachelor's right into master's, and you can get you can launch a wonderful career that way. And then to really go on to the PhD, I think sometimes it's a personal goal, something maybe someone has always felt like that's what they want to do. Kind of doesn't matter what job they're going to do, but it's just a goal that they have, and that's fine. But a lot of times you don't need a PhD. It's a long-term commitment. There's a lot of considerations about family life, work balances, and things like that. So you're putting things on hold for a while. But if you're the kind of person, or maybe you worked for a while with a master's, but you want to be the one getting the grants, you want to write the proposals, you want to lead the teams, it may be in academia, or it may be creating your own NGO, or going into a government position that was at a leadership role. You really need that PhD in order to be competitive for the job, or to really be able to move as maybe as high as you want to go. So it's a personal journey, but I would say you're not going to be locked into something. You can always kind of go on and get the next degree if you want to.
Thank you, everybody. These are very good discussions. So I think our time is up for this section. I will turn it back to Dr. Hua Liu for the Dole Prize drawing.
Hi, everyone. And we are about ready to do the Dole Prize drawing really soon. Let me have my table ready here. And then I'm going to share the screen with you. Okay, can everybody see a list of names over here? All right, good. So those are the names we just gather from the participants list on Zoom. And based on what we get, We have 50 participants right now. This is what we're going to do. I have a random number generator, and the minimum number will be 1, and the maximum number will be 50, as we just received. And I do want to tell our panelists, your names were purposely removed from this list. And we have a special gift for you as well, not as door prizes. So let's give the chance to our audience first. And, all right, I'm going to click random number 25. Let's see, 25. Iris. All right, we have Iris here as the first one. Hi, Iris. Would you like to introduce yourself to our group for a few seconds?
Hi, my name is Iris Lynn. I'm a third year, I believe, at Old Dominion, and I'm one of Dr. Liu's students, and I have a lot of interest in GIS career field. My main goal right now is to graduate college with a bachelor's and hopefully maybe join the military, possibly the Air Force with that. And then afterwards, I would like to, in the future, way future, maybe form some kind of company with GIS. I just don't know what kind of format I would like to do with that yet. Thank you.
All right, congratulations, Iris. You get a full waiver for publication at MDPI remote sensing. All right, that's I'm going to start to share for our second draw. We're going to draw 3 times. Okay, Iris' name will be put on the bottom, not be drawn again. I'm going to move the names underneath to the top. Okay, so we have up to 49 now. I'm going to do the generator again from 1 to 49. Random number 38. Let's come to 38. 38 is Qian Yu. Hi, Qian. Would you like to introduce yourself to our group? Hi, Qian. Are you here?
Well, I think.
Hello.
Well, I think that person probably left. I don't see that in the participant list.
Okay. All right. Well, we have the rule. The person has to be present to claim the door prize. So we will have to move this person out of the list, and we do the draw again. Okay, we have 41 to 48. Okay. Random number 39. Why?
Can you share the screen, please?
Yeah. All right, this goes to 39. Rima Wahab. Hi, Rima. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't share the screen.
Hi, I wasn't planning on getting on the spot. I actually have my master's a while back, long time ago, in remote sensing and GIS from Clark University, and then I went on a long gap and for family reasons, and I am back now, and I'm looking for ways how do I get back into because I'm very passionate about remote sensing per se. So I'm looking for ways how to get back into the remote sensing world.
All right, thank you, Rima. And let's do one more draw. The number goes to 47. I apologize, I thought I shared earlier, but apparently I didn't. Let's blame to the technology. Okay, random number. Number one, let's see, who's number one? Edison? Deaza Jimenez. Hi, Edison, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Anderson. I'm currently senior standing undergraduate at ODU, majoring in geography. I'm also one of Dr. Liu's students and also Jennifer Walla. Hi, sorry, you can see my face.
All right, thank you, Angel Anderson. And we finished our first round of door prize drawing, and please let me know your email address by chat or send me an email if you would like to, and we will follow up with you how to collect the door prizes. And congratulations again. And I'm going to move on, hand over the time to our second session moderator, Dr. Yin Lu. I'm sorry, Yin Lu is ABD.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Yin Lu, and I am a PhD candidate in student Buffalo. And can you hear me now? Okay. And my research is focusing on physical geography using remote sensing. And yeah, thank you so much for your maybe wonderful questions, and also thank our panelists for the excellent answers for us. And yeah, besides the career exploration, I think another question we are interested in is that how to search a job. So as nowadays after the COVID, I think we have noticed that a large number of job positions have opened for new PhDs or new graduate students. So the main answer for this section may be, what would you look for if you were in the position to hire our graduate students? Do you have any suggestions for that? Oh, thank you, Professor Beth.
Yeah, I was like, are we going the same order as we were?
Yeah, okay.
I can go first, maybe then Keith can go. So I mentioned this a little bit, and I think it's some of the same things we talked about last time, but I think in industry right now, really key skills in remote sensing are programming and coding. Really important to have a GitHub page so that people can find you and check out your code, and that it's nice and well commented and people can really see those skills. Most companies will also have a technical test, which usually will require some type of programming. And so it's pretty important that you excel in that. The second thing I would say is any machine learning and artificial intelligence that you can do either in coursework or have done independently in a project is really great. The third thing I would say is internships. So we hire a lot from the NASA Develop program. We love hiring from that program because we know that students have had experience working with satellite data. They've usually been coding in Google Earth Engine, and they usually have been working with decision makers to try to figure out some creative way to turn science into a product. I kind of put some of that in the chat, but it really sort of like, we're always looking for people not that just have technical skills, but can figure out how to creatively leverage those skills to solve a problem. And so any internship, Develop is just an example of a really good one that allows you to have a project in your portfolio that proves that you've done that, will really set you apart. I think I put this in the chat also. There's actually someone who was our first hire employee at Clouded Street, actually, who's on this call, Sam Weber, who's a PhD student now at UC Irvine. But he floated to the top of our pile because he had written an app and a visualization app in Google Earth Engine. And he also, I think it was him, and like had kind of like something on a website. So it just kind of showed to us, this person knows how to use remote sensing and produce visualizations from it that an external client could see, and just kind of the initiative, you know, of going beyond just being able to code and write an algorithm to think through the visualization and, you know, to have a website and kind of, I don't know, it shows this like something a little bit next level that helps us kind of see someone who has a digital presence that they've curated or worked on when we're making hiring decisions. The last thing I would say is a first authored paper. And the first authorship is actually kind of key. What that really shows to us at the company is somebody who has the grit to go through the publication process. Because it's hard to publish, like you got to go through revisions and it's all of this work. And it typically means like, this is the kind of person that is a get things done kind of individual. And so that's always a plus in floating to the top of the pile.
Okay.
Sure, I'll go ahead and just continue on that there. So I think applied examples of your experience is really helpful. So Beth mentioned GitHub, and I think that's useful for people that are into coding, into customization and development. But either way, just having some sort of a portfolio that you can demonstrate, the work that you have done in the past, and then it gives you an opportunity to explain the science behind what you applied to develop that information product. I think that's where the real value is when you can sit in front of somebody, explain the work that you've done, and maybe how it can be applied somewhere else in some other different arena, so this is similar to the work that I've done on X, but I could see how a lot of the work that I've done here could be applied to Y. I think that's when you're able to make those associations between your projects that you've worked on or the experience that you gained in university, and be able to further that and be helpful within an organization and be a team player. So I think those things are really helpful. I don't think you're going to be a first listed publication author if you're looking for an entry-level job. I think that's a hard find for a lot of people, unless you are that master's student that had a thesis that was around some very niche topic, or algorithm development or something like that. I don't think that that's something that I'm looking for within the applied, the industry itself. So I realize that there is a lot of academics on this call, and they might value the degrees a little bit more, but I think some individual that shows motivation, someone that shows the initiative and can explain the science behind what they've done is a really ideal candidate when you're hiring.
One thing I would say on top of that, because it's Geography Awareness Week, is that people who are getting training in remote sensing technologies through geography departments are probably taking other courses about things like physical geography and processes of the Earth's surface. And remote sensing is a tool that at its heart is really trying to understand those processes. So I think if you both understand the tool and how to use it, plus understand the processes that are actually operating, that's the best combination in my view, if you're applying that technology to understanding how the world works. Because I do see evidence there's people that are very good with the tool, but they don't always understand the actual, in my case, it's, what is the actual physics of energy transfer at the urban surface, and what is it that we do see in remote sensing and what is it we don't, right? Because we don't actually see all of the surfaces in an urban area, for example. But if you understand the tool, you understand the processes and how it can then be used to tell you something else about that environment, that's a big deal. And I think that's something geography is good at, right? Because we're making you understand both build skills, but also understand the environment, and the environment's both physical and social.
I'll just put a plug in for a program that Beth mentioned in the chat, the NASA Develop National Program. And she mentioned Sam Weber, so he was one of our students. I was on his committee, and he was very involved in NASA Develop. And that is the kind of thing that if I saw an application come across and someone had been involved in this type of an internship, you know, really catches my attention. NASA Develop is a paid internship, and there are nodes throughout the United States, so many of them are at the NASA Space Flight Centers, for example, and they are limited to U.S. citizens, but the university nodes can accept international students as well. But not just students in bachelor's, master's, or PhD programs, or recent graduates. So you could be up to 2 years from your graduation. And you get online and you look at what projects are being conducted at different nodes. So we're a node here at Georgia, and there are 3 terms. Each one is a 10-week internship, so it's not that long. You can do it, and if you did get a job, or while you're kind of deciding, you know, to go to graduate school or whatever, it's not that long, but it's a great experience. You work in a team, and it's not just the remote sensing and the science and geospatial analysis, but it's also meeting deadlines, working with partners. It has to be a partner organization. It's applied science. There are deliverables that have to meet the needs of the partners. You're presenting your work, chances to go to conferences. So there's a lot of soft skill development as well as the science and skill building. So I would highly recommend that there's only a little window, like 3 weeks. The applications are open for future terms, but you could check that out, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that separately as well. So I didn't know the connection, Beth. That's awesome with Sam.
Thank you so much for your suggestion, Dr. Mandan, and also Dr. Yan. Do you have any suggestions for us to search for a job?
Sorry, I got disconnected for a while. So I just want to make sure I answer the question as intended. So I think the question is about how to looking for opportunities over there.
Yeah, the question is that what are you looking for if you are if you are hiring maybe a new graduate student?
Okay, yeah, I wanted to echo what Margaret just mentioned. The soft skills, they are critical in collaborative environments, like what the position we are in, also national laboratories. And of course, those skill sets that you understanding a general idea of the remote sensing, and if you are coming from a solid science background, we actually prefer that the candidates over pure computer science candidates. Because what we learned in the past few years is that taking off-shelf tools, models to deploy, it's easy to learn. However, those expertise, geoscience expertise, remote sensing expertise, often offer the view to understand the problem and to approach the solution more, I would say, more efficiently rather than deploy a model, get the results, report accuracy. Oftentimes to solve or to discover the science, we wanted to get more insights toward what the model presented to you and what can we learn from those results. So those kind of backgrounds, the candidates with that background, solid understanding of remote sensing coming from physics or geoscience, and that's actually someone we would love to bring in. Of course, computer science background people, they offer different parts in our projects or workflow. So, but since this is a remote sensing panel discussion, I wanted to make sure that students, graduates, there are never short of opportunities for you to reach out. Sometimes you just will be surprised to know that we are looking for the candidates or talents just like you. And going back to what Marguerite mentioned, the soft skills. For example, here in our laboratory right now, when we are interviewing candidates, we actually set up a session called cultural feeding discussions. And we will invite several our employees, staff members, just to talk to understanding how candidates handle difficulties or setbacks, frustrations, and how you work with your colleagues. Some questions like that, just to get the more realistic examples to understanding and to get a feeling about how these candidates can work well in this collaborative environments, or he is better suited to some to leading development kind of the positions where independence is more valued in that kind of positions.
Thank you so much for your answer, Dr. Yang. And also, I think I got a question from Bing Qing Liang. She asked that many departments or programs or companies now offer all sort of maybe the GISH or RSH certifications. So how do you see those certifications values in today's job market? Maybe for Mr. Keith, as you are in the company market, is that possible for you to share your opinion?
What's the question again? I'm kind of unclear on what the exact question is.
She asked that in many departments or the programs, they offer some sort of the GIS or RS certifications. Some give you maybe from my understanding, maybe they attend some class and then they get some certifications that they finish this. Maybe there are things and things, and what's their value in their job market?
Yeah, I think they definitely add value to helping you stand out against other folks. So I mean, I mentioned I think early on that I participated in 2 different certificate programs within Old Dominion University. One was the space certificate, so spatial analysis of coastal environments. And then there was another one that was just a GIS certificate. And I believe, if you were trying to, Beth mentioned kind of people sorting through the stack. If you were being compared to maybe other folks that didn't have those certificates, they could set you apart a little bit. And I mean, in the world of going after and contract procurement and work, these things are helpful to show the depth of and the breadth of your team. So think about, going after a contract and it's a competitive contract and you've got to demonstrate your competencies. Those certificates could be helpful for those types of reasonings as well. I've seen even people go back after graduating and get some of these certificates as well to sharpen their skills. And I see that is beneficial as well. So like ERISA has a GISP certificate and program that they offer. I find that shows your rigor and your ability to follow through on doing these types of things and gives you a little bit more accreditation. And some of these certificates that we're talking about could be used to show your continued learning process along the way in order to maintain that type of credential. So those are my thoughts on the certificates and their value.
Thank you so much for your answers. And and as also according to the certifications, as for the academic positions, well, the certifications helpful for us, for example, our PhD candidates to apply for maybe a tenure track position in the geography department. Maybe Dr. Madden, do you have some suggestions for us?
So I was typing in the chat when you asked that question. Is a certificate,
Okay.
how certificates would help you to get into a PhD program?
How the certificates for our PhD candidates to searching the job, searching for a tenure track job. So if will it be helpful, or we can focusing on another area, for example, the more papers and also our research.
I think certificates help, and they can range from you get a certificate within your department because you've taken certain classes that you probably would have taken anyway, but they always add to your degree. And then moving into professional society certificates like the GISP, and also ASPRS offers certificates in mapping science and remote sensing, and there's one in UAS, and LIDAR, so there's a lot of different options for that. They certainly demonstrate initiative and motivation and rigor, so all of those are great if you can add them. Sometimes they really help if your area is a different domain, so maybe you're in geology, biology, archaeology, whatever it is, and then you add that skill certificate to it. Many of our certificates now are actually in 2 different areas or 2 different disciplines, so like public health, or it might be disaster management combined with geography. So it gives you that multidisciplinary perspective as well. So yeah, job markets are very competitive these days. So anything you can do, I think Keith and others that I have mentioned, to separate yourself out from the other applications is really important.
Thank you so much. And also I have get another question from a student, but maybe he or she said that it is maybe more relevant to the previous section, but if you want to answer this question, is that what would recommend to the early career or recent graduates to looking for building a career in IS or GIS? And also another question is that what actions do you all recommend for the current college students to build their skills for the technology?
Yeah, well, I think having a great relationship with your advisor is really important. I think your advisors can help you find work, they're probably aware. They have a good network that they've built up over time. They know what the needs of the communities are, and I think that they can do a little bit of matchmaking if you have a good relationship with your advisor. I think you have to demonstrate that you are not just doing the bare minimum to get by to that advisor in order for them to extend themselves at that level. So I think you have to show a passion, show a desire, and show that motivation and show that to your advisor. And I think that there could be some reciprocation there for them helping get you placed in an internship or into the workforce through some network of people that they probably know. So I think they might come across a job advertisement and forward it to you that they say, hey, this is a good fit for you. And that might be the encouragement you need to apply for something like that, or provide you with a letter of recommendation and things like that. I think starting your career by having a good professional working relationship with your advisor is really important.
Thank you so much for the answers. And yeah, and I think now let's go to another. The next section, I think, is the door prize drawing. Let me pass my host to Dr. Liu.
Thank you, Ian. Let's get started with our second round of door prize drawing. We're going to have 2 more to make this to be 5 door prize drawing in total. I'm going to share my screen again, make sure. All right. Right now we have up to 40 participants, and I do want to apologize to Tara Antwi. I didn't recognize your name was not included. We tried to add all the participants to our best effort, so apologize for that. All right, let's get started with our random number generator again. From 1 to 40. Random number 40. All right, how that happened? Okay. Yu Yo Chen. Hi, congratulations, Yu Yo. Would you like to introduce yourself to our group?
That person is not here anymore.
All right, we'll move Yu Yo to the list on the bottom. Okay, that's easy. I don't have to reorder the row. Okay, we're gonna have a 39 remaining. Random number. Oops. Gabriela Zuccoloto. Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gabby Zuccoloto. I'm a second-year master's student at Duquesne University. My background is in education, but I'm currently doing a remote sensing project using differential interferometry and GRACE data to look at subsidence and excessive groundwater extraction. Really great presentation so far, guys. So thank you, everybody, for the advice and all the interesting information.
Thank you, and congratulations again, Gabriela.
Thank you.
Right. Now I'm going to hand it over to our moderator for the 3rd session, Bo Peng.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Liu. Hi, everyone. My name is Bo. I'm a PhD candidate from University of Wisconsin-Madison. My background is remote sensing, machine learning, and with applications in natural disasters, emergency response. So it's my great honor to be the moderator of this session. So for this session, we want to talk about one important issue when we develop our career, so which is the leadership. So I think leadership means different things in different career paths, either academia or in industry. So for this session, we have some questions, especially for new grad students. So what's the best way for us to prepare the training for leadership skills? And the next is what approach we need, what skills we need in terms of the leadership to help us develop career after we graduate in industry or in academia. So for example, in academia, we may start establishment of a lab. We start leading a lab and we start writing proposals and lead a project, and we also manage a team. But in industry, we may be a member of the team, so we need to communicate with our managers and also the other team members. So in that case, how we can build up our leadership skills. So with that said, I want to, I think our grad students or undergrad students are very looking forward to hearing some ideas from either industry or academia regarding the leadership skills. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe I can go first.
Yeah, Dr. Yang, go ahead.
I think it's the opportunities that you have to find and to step up in some cases. So build up the leaderships. It's not always easy, but you can create those learning opportunities for yourself. For example, even you volunteer organizing panels like this, and you actually work with the student volunteers and work with some workshop chairs, it's actually a great opportunity for you to extend your network and also organizing and putting out your thoughts and to actually develop something on your own. And that, I think that's one of the ways to be in a position to develop your leaderships. Other things like for example, when you join either private sectors or national laboratories here, you will have a start position in a project, and gradually you will learn how to organize and how to push the deliverables by working with others. And definitely there will be some opportunities for you to take and step up and put out your thoughts, your thinking to solving some of the problems. It's also a good step for you to establish your leadership skills, and even putting out small proposals, working with PIs, just to illustrate that you have your own thinking to propose some solutions. They are all great opportunities for you just to start small. And sometimes you do have to step out from your comfort zone, and maybe you'll be hurt. That's okay, because that's learning opportunities for you. You will always gain something from those kind of stepping out comfort zone experiences. I think that's actually the best way to grow.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yang. Just a follow-up question regarding the organizing some like workshops, seminars, or collaborating with other professionals regarding the proposals. So do you have any suggestions on how to get started? Because as grad students, it's hard to reach out to somebody you may not be very familiar with, and you want to collaborate with him or her to organize a session, for example, some scientist who is prestigious in the field. So because it's very hard for fresh grads to get started with this kind of leadership skills training. So do you have any suggestions on this?
So I wanted to, again, echo what the Keith just mentioned, establish and maintain a good relationship with your advisor and some of your close collaborators. Those are great first steps. But remember, those are the first connections created and brought to you by your advisors, your collaborators. You have to, again, to create that kind of continuous relationships, either regular check-ins or just say hello, something, or bump into. Eventually, we'll go back to in-person conference meetings. Those are great opportunities. And I was in that position before, being a young, fresh graduate. I tried to reach out to invite keynote speakers. And I always feel like I was so little, no one know me like that. But fortunately, my colleagues and my supervisors, my mentors, whenever I ask their help, they have been very friendly and willing to help me to get that kind of connections. And again, those are the first steps. It's all about you, how to pick up those created introductions going forward to grow your own relationships. I would say I'm very fortunate to have those fellow colleagues, supervisors. They are really willing to help, and those big names I approached, they are also very eager to get to know me when I was just a fresh graduate. And some of them, eventually we established some connections going forward, and that will become less problematic if I wanted to ask them or even their friends to join our workshop to give some keynotes.
Yeah, thank you.
And this is right now, this is a great opportunity for young graduates. Like eventually, someday, if you are organizing a workshop and you wanted to see if someone here has time to give a talk or join the panel discussions, a good starting sentence in your email probably, hey, I joined in the panel some day ago in the AGG panel career discussions, and that's where the connection is made, and you will get at least for me, I was, oh yeah, we have been there in some virtual space or met each other, and we have the shared research interests, and that will get the conversation going easily.
Yeah, as grad students, I'm also very honored to have this opportunity to participate.
We're having a hard time hearing you, Bo.
Yeah, Keith, go ahead.
Sure. I also, you know, I know it's been a weird world over the past 2 years or whatever, but attending some of these conferences, so like AAG conference in New York in person, you're going to find a lot of these subject matter experts and experts within their own disciplines within the industry attending and presenting, and maybe they're at a poster session. They're going to be there, and I think that's a good opportunity to put yourself in front of some of these folks too. So, AGU is a good example of that. AAG is a good example of that. And then from your standpoint, you know, and there's lots of opportunities for students, right? There's student discounted rates to attend these types of events. There's job boards that are at some of these major events where you can post up a resume or things like that as well. And be thinking ahead, right? So think, well, in a year and a half, I'm going to be graduating, and I think this is what I want to do. So start to develop some of those relationships now. Don't wait until you graduate. You should start to express your interest early, start to develop that path that you think that you want to go on. And I think that could be beneficial as well. So I take advantage of poster sessions. So talk about the work that you're doing, find a way to talk about the work that you're doing at some of these events too. And I think a poster session is a really good way to do that. And you're not seeking out people, they're kind of going to be coming by you naturally in those situations. So I think that could be helpful too.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, my audio is not working well just now. Yeah, thank you, Keith, for the great advice. Regarding the leadership skills, so from the perspective of the senior research scientists or professors like Professor Maiden or Professor Vuk, do you have any insights when some new grads seeking to build their leadership skills?
Sure, it's kind of the same. If you can get involved in professional societies, I think that many of them are just looking for new talent and people who are willing to volunteer to help on committees. It's volunteer, but in the long run, I think it really does help your career and your portfolio and everything to show that you have just raised your hand and yes, I will help with this. Starting from AAG panels and putting together special sessions. ASPRS has lots of opportunities for joining divisions and committees. I'm involved in ISPRS as well, so those are international conferences, and I'm on the board of the ISPRS Foundation, so there are travel grants that really help people to get to these conferences. I'm helping with the Autocardo 2022, and that's going to be at Esri in Redlands, so next year at this time, and we're already talking about a lot of opportunities for student assistantships and travel grants. So getting involved, going to the conferences, and then raising your hand and volunteering to help with the society work and administration itself. I think that's a really good pathway to gain some leadership skills. And never in my wildest dreams when I started going to ASPRS conferences would I think I would be president one day, for example. But it just, you put yourself out there and it happens, and it's a great experience. So.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Madden.
Yeah, so I would just add to the, there's kind of discipline or research specific leadership you can take, and we've had lots of ideas there. I think there's also the opportunity to build leadership skills more generally within the academic environment, because, undergrad societies, right, and graduate societies are actually viewed by people like me, who are administrators of the department, as important constituencies in the life of that department. And the stepping stones are the same. It's like get involved and build from there. But those kind of build some of the maybe more soft skills in terms of communication with people and team building. But they're also important, right? Because those things go on to your CV as well, and they can be things that people are looking for when they're trying to hire a colleague, right? So if you're the colleague that has had that both participation, but also some leadership, then that's something we're looking for, because when you get into an academic position, some of the leadership you'll have to take may not be as much research specific. You could also be asked to, you need to help in developing this next certificate, for remote sensing. So you need to sort of coordinate amongst colleagues and the initiative, right? So it's kind of team playing, initiative, and making things happen. So there's opportunities there. And it's never too late to learn. So I actually was in a leadership training program last year for 40 hours. So, and they made us read books. And we did all sorts of different exercises. And, sometimes academics like to, it's a bit like herding cats. And so you're reading these books that are often written for companies, but there are things that are in common, right? There's a lot of elements of being part of a team that operate at different levels. So you just have to, I think, look for the analogy. So there are ways to, learn on your own too.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Dr. Book. Yeah, it's really there are really many opportunities for fresh grads to seek all kinds of chances to build their leadership skills. Yeah. So besides that, I know that Dr. Tellman, you are very successful leading both academic team and industrial team. So do you have any ideas how you lead those two types of teams and how you manage them and how you become such a great leader in terms of your career development?
I would say the most important thing is to look for mentors that you can develop a relationship with that can teach you what you don't know. So, I had never started a company before I started a company, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to get mentors of people who had done that. And I called them all the time and asked for advice. So I think one of the most important skills, this maybe sound a little bit counterintuitive, but is to be vulnerable and ask for help with a mentor. People love giving advice and mentoring more than you would think. It's actually really flattering a lot of times. And so don't be afraid to ask for help in learning new skills and develop those mentoring relationships. The first job that I got out of college, I actually walked into a professor's office. He worked at the Nature Conservancy at the time. And I introduced myself. I had been taking his class and I said, I think you should hire me and here's why. And he gave me a job. And actually, someone who I hired about a year ago at Cloud to Street, I was involved in a class at Columbia University, and he followed me after class and he said, I want to work for your company. And he now has a job at Cloud to Street. So be bold, pitch yourself and ask for help. The worst thing that can happen is someone says no or doesn't answer your email. And the best thing that can happen is something really cool and new happens for you.
That sounds great. So, so what do you think about, in terms of the leadership skills, what do you think about the leading in the technology and the leadership in communication skills? So what do we mean? The soft skills and hard skills. Yeah, so for some grad students, this may seem to be two different paths in developing their leadership skills. So someone may want to be a tech lead, somebody may want to manage your team. So what do you think how we train ourselves to become these two type of leaders?
Yeah, I'm pretty self-taught, so I have a hard time answering that question well, but it could be interesting to consider taking classes at the business school, potentially, if you can, in management, or even just auditing or sitting in on a class. You don't necessarily have to get credit for it, but I would say in tech world, people are really impressed by people who know how to manage a project management system. We use Confluence and Jira at my company, for example, and we run sprints. And you can do a lot of sort of your own work and learning about, say, if you're interested in tech management or industry, just sort of knowing what's happening in industry or in that space. There's a lot of like blog posts and newsletters and Medium posts to read. I really like reading, for example, a newsletter by someone named Joe Morrison, who writes a monthly newsletter about sort of what's happening in the remote sensing and mapping industry, and sort of just becoming familiar with what's happening in industry is really impressive. And it's really helpful in an interview. And I think it's also helpful in learning how to manage teams, because unlike academia, if you sort of think about like, how would I learn how to like write the best algorithm or apply the best algorithm? You go and do a lit review. Well, you can't really do that for managing a team. So your like lit review is talking to other people and having mentors and sort of reading, I would say, like newsletters and blogs, and sort of there's like other things that you could read in the business space that would help you learn those skills. That's mostly how I've done it. And it was very foreign to me when I initially started doing it. And I was sort of given orientation about how to approach that space and what to read by other people who had started tech companies. So I would say in business, it's a lot more networking and finding someone who knows, and then they can sort of help point you to different resources.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tom. Thank you all for the great suggestions regarding how we build our leadership skills. So for now, I will hand over to Dr. Liu regarding our panel discussion.
Thank you, Paul. And I do apologize. I need to have one more draw supposed to be before the session started with Paul. And so I'm going to do one more door prize drawing before we finish the program for today. I'm going to share my screen again. So right now we have 31 participants. Just one more slide. So that's already the last chance now, from 1 to 30. Launch the generator. 1 to 30. Okay, this is our last door prize drawing. 26. 26. Tara Antwi. Hi, Tara. Are you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. Would you like to introduce yourself to our group?
What do you mean? Yes, I'm a PhD candidate working on using geospatial technology to solve aging deteriorating road surface. And I'm from Ghana, West Africa.
All right, congratulations, Tara. And for all the winners, please send me an email or simply leave your email address under the chat before you leave for today. And I will get in touch with you later about details how to deliver the door prizes to you. All right.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, thank you all for participating in the panel today. This is the first year the specialty group is hosting an event like this, and we hope to make this to be a more like a regular annual activity from now on, at least during the current term of remote sensing specialty group board. Hopefully, after we retire, the future board members would like to keep this going as a new tradition of the society. And besides the career mentoring panel, we are organizing other activities, mainly during AAG annual meeting 2022 in New York. We are currently calling for student paper poster competitions. And we also have John Jensen Distinguished Lecture Series in remote sensing. And for the coming year, we have invited speaker Dr. Ruth DeFries from Columbia University. So she will be sharing her research with remote sensing in the spring during AAG 2022 annual meeting. And we're also calling for nominees for early career awards to junior faculty, scholars, and also outstanding contributions award to established fellows. And Dr. Madam, she was the recipient for the Outstanding Contributions Award last year. Congratulations again, Dr. Madam. And so more details about those activities can be found on our specialty group's email, website, Facebook, and LinkedIn account. Before we officially end the program for today, I would like to say thank you to the steering committee for this mentoring panel, Dr. Carter Wang, Yin Lu, and Bo Peng. So 4 of us, we had multiple meetings and brainstorms. So we had to spend the time to make this happen today. Thank you. I'm so happy to work with each of you, and let's work together and grouped all the members of special group, of a remote sensing special group, and just create new history and new records for the entire society of remote sensing. Thank you all.
Thank you.